You know, usually CNN, the BBC are lying about stuff, I think, but when they said my penis was ridiculously monstrous, I just couldn't help but believe all the truth and facts they were spitting at me.
Knowledge and ignorance.
Welcome. Knowledge and ignorance. Rebus here, old sexy-faced chiseled jaw, coming live and direct from the land of, it's okay, we don't have to wear masks. Great place to be. But congratulations are in order to you. I may have been feeling the sweet release of freedom for quite a while now, but congratulations, mainly to America, but also to the rest of the Western world, because now you are free to go back into the Matrix, and it must feel so good, because this nightmarish reality that you've had for the past few years has been too much, let's face it. Now you can comfortably go back to sleep in ignorance. I'll drink to that. Well done. I know. Facts, truth and reality can be such a burden. So awful for most people. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, I don't like it too much. That's why I wake up in the morning and go, But you don't need to suffer from that no more. You've successfully gone back to ignorance. And that's fantastic. And what's even more fantastic about the change of guard that is about to happen and that everything will go back to the normal that you so desperately crave is that, do you remember the little kids in cages? Do you remember them? Remember the little kids in cages? Do you remember them? Yeah, on the American border. Little immigrant kids in the cages. Do you remember their faces? Oh, do you remember when that man from the Hamilton musical came and sung lullabies to them? Oh, sleep, little children in your cages. Do you remember that? Wasn't that heartwarming? Do you remember the AOC? Do you remember AOC? No, it's not some crappy 90s TV show. AOC. You know who she is. I don't like referring to her as acronym, AOC. But I really hate having to say her full name. So it's kind of a uncomfortable compromise that I have to come to just to save time. In fact, during the time where I could have said her name in full, I wouldn't have had to waste time explaining why I won't say her name in full and saved you a lot of bother. But there you go, AOC. Do you remember when she was at the fence like this? The children. Oh, the children. Snap. If you're just listening to it, I am reenacting what she did. You should know. If you don't know, go look at it. Oh, the children. Oh, think of the children. Oh. As she stared off into the void of, well, there was nothing there. I mean, we saw the photos there. She wasn't looking at anything. Not sure what she was crying at. The desert. I mean, the desert. I guess the desert can be, somewhat disturbing. I think the deserts in general make me quite emotional. I mean, I've been to the desert and, I just look around and go, oh, this fucking sucks. It's pretty cold. I mean, cold feeling-wise is not physically cold. It's just emotionally cold. There's nothing going on. There's no trees. There's nothing to make you smile about the desert. So I completely understand where she was coming from. But don't worry, though. Do you remember, because the kids in cages, everyone was very concerned about the kids in cages. Oh, the poor kids in cages, what will happen to them? Well, they're gone. They're gone. They've disappeared. They'll disappear now. You won't hear about them ever again. Not because they've actually disappeared or they've been released, or they're not inside the cages. They're still there. They'll still be in the cages, because there's no point in talking about them anymore. Because, there's no need. I mean, what's done is done. There's no need to talk about Russia. There may even not be any need to talk about racism anymore, although there will be, because they always need a bogeyman. So the kids in cages are safe now. Safe from your mind. Your mind is clear, your conscience is clear, it's all gone. You can give a round of applause to nobody for doing nothing, because now no one cares, and the kids will still be in the cages. So this might be the last time you ever hear about the kids in cages, so let's drink to that too. How wonderful it must be to know that the burden of the kids in cages is no more. That's right. Fantastic, isn't it? How these problems can just sort of disappear like that. This is something I say quite a lot, but I'll keep saying it because repetition is the only way it gets through to people. You know, a bit like the Islamic terrorist threat. Remember the Islamic terrorists? Well, they were everywhere. Well, suddenly after Brexit, they disappeared too. I almost clicked my fingers properly. I haven't done that in years. Oh no, false alarm. The terrorists gone. The kids will disappear like the terrorists until they are needed again. You know what I mean? Like reserve troops. They'll be like, well, we've got a problem now. Can you send in the kids in cages? You know, send a TV crew down to the kids in cages. People need to see their faces again. We've got a problem, a political problem. We need the kids in cages to be seen. You see, power hasn't changed. Politics hasn't changed for thousands and thousands of years. And this is true. You can look at examples throughout history. I mean, go look at Roman times, in the early stages of the Roman Empire. When Augustus was becoming, he wasn't quite emperor yet, but he was about to become the first emperor. And the son of Pompey, who Augustus's adoptive father Caesar had killed, or defeated in battle at least, and subsequently led to his death. You know, Pompey's son cut off the supply of grain to Rome. Not because he hated the Roman people and wanted them all to suffer. He wanted the Roman people to hate Augustus. So, that's the reason why they suffered. It was all political. No one cared about the people. The people are pawns. You still are pawns. I mean, look at what happened in America. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want stimulus checks being sent out or whatever it was. Financial aid for the people. Why? So it would make Donald Trump look bad. It was about power. Not until after the election will anything be done, because it's not you that anyone cares about. It's just power. It's having their nice house and their protections. And that's what it is. When you talk about the elites and have-nots, a lot of politicians like to point their fingers at the super rich. Oh, look at these billionaires. Aren't they awful? Well, people that innovate stuff and make our world a better place are awful people, apparently. Because they don't have as much money as a billionaire. Neither do intellectuals, and they never will do. Because they don't do stuff. They mainly just sort of yap along and talk. They talk and talk and talk. This is the only thing they know how to do. Just talk. Talk, 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 talk. They talk so much that they forget to do anything. They'll talk about going to the toilet so much that they won't even realise they've actually just soiled themselves in public. And people won't realise they've soiled themselves in public because of all the talk that's been going on. I don't know if you've ever been blagged by a smackhead before, but they like to talk a hell of a lot too. They're going, yeah, bro, but I got to do this, and then this, and then the thing is, all they want is just some money. And you don't want to give them money because they're a smackhead. But they'll talk and talk and talk. You know, it's just a barrage of fucking words. Some of them don't even make sense, but there's buzzwords thrown in there that you understand. Going, feelings, something. Plays a little tune in your head, and eventually you've just given them 20 quid and you don't even know why. Because they just kept talking. They didn't do anything. Nothing got done. Just talk. Talk. That's what they do. Just talk. Look at the children. Oh my God, the children. Anyone think about the children? The children in the cage. No one freed the children. They didn't try to free the kids. They didn't try to give you stimulus packages. They didn't try to do anything. Because that's not what it's all about. They just need to talk to you. And keep talking at you until you think a certain way and pledge your allegiance to them. And this is what they've been doing for thousands of years. They don't innovate. They hate innovators. They hate the power that innovators have. They hate the love that people have for the innovations that have been created. And they're around there going, oh, why can't they love us? For the stuff we haven't done. We're supposed to be loved. They just want to be loved. They just want to be loved. Or feared, but never hated. And that's the problem. No one loved them. The only thing they understand is fear, because they can't get the love. And when they see sort of the bizarre love that Donald Trump was getting, I mean, the whole Trump phenomenon is fascinating. Die-hard Trump fans, as cringy as they are, fucking love him and fucking love their country. And he gives them back, I love you and I love our country. And then there's all this love going around. That's what it was. Everyone seemed to think it was all based on hate. That's not how it works. The hatred came from the other side because they had nothing to offer, because all they know is how to talk. And here's a man, and regardless of what you think about, the small loan of $1 million he got. Oh yeah, well, anyone could build up a huge $1 billion business with $1 million loan. No, have you seen fucking lottery winners? When's the last time you heard of a lottery winner that won like 100 million and created some 500 billion fucking pound industry? Have you ever heard about any savvy investment from lottery winners? No. Have you seen billionaires' sons and rich people's sons and daughters and what they get up to? Look at Paris Hilton. I mean, she's made a career for herself, but if Paris Hilton had been born in a different era, say the 60s, she wouldn't be doing jack shit on her own, you know what I'm saying? Same with the Kardashians and the Jenners. Without this modern technology and the idol worship of celebrity, they wouldn't have created anything. They wouldn't be able to do anything. But Donald Trump did. And, well, they just can't tolerate that. Can you hear that fucking knocking? What are you up to? Shut up. Sorry, let's not get distracted. You're just going to have to deal with it the same as me. When you have nothing to offer the people, because all you do is talk and do nothing, the only thing you can do is create something that they're scared of. And this is what they always do. After 9/11, 9/11 could have just been a one-off thing. Something that was terrible, a tragedy, that they could have just moved past. Everyone could have just moved on, maybe made things a bit secure, done a few things here and there, had a bit of time of healing. 9/11 didn't have to lead to 2 bullshit wars. That's a fact. It just didn't need to happen. But it did. Why? Well, it's not because they wanted the oil, bro. It's all about the oil. The bankers, the oil. The Federal Reserve, the Central Bank, the World Bank. No, don't be silly. It's about maintaining a grip on power. Everything is an opportunity. Coronavirus is an opportunity. The myth of the far right is an opportunity. The threat of Islamic fundamentalist terrorism is an opportunity. It was an opportunity to exert more power and keep people in power. That's all this is. And it's the same thing. Whereas they painted up Bin Laden to be the world's biggest supervillain, the bogeyman that's coming to get you. Are you scared yet? Hey, what's going on? I don't know, but I think Bin Laden might be hiding in your cupboard. We need to protect you from Bin Laden. He might come and eat your children. Oh, well, how are you going to do that? We're just going to spy on you through your television. That's all. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, why don't you say so? We're just going to spy on you and introduce these really fucked up laws. That means we can hold you in detention without counsel from a legal representative for 30 days or so. Well, that sounds perfectly fine. It's not like I get accused of terrorism. Roll on 20 years later and you could post a meme on Twitter and you will be arrested under the Terrorism Act if you're not careful. But of course that's all fine. Now, since Bin Laden's gone, they needed the new enemy, the far right, and, they leapt straight on it. They're like going, well, we've got nothing to offer the people, clearly. No one likes us. They don't quite hate us yet. Or do they hate us? I don't know. Well, let's make them hate him even more. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't fear. It was the hatred that they stirred up. Because fear lasts longer than love. They created a new bogeyman. One that they could hate. They could fear the ideas, but hate the man. And that's how it works. And all their efforts applied in, they piled all their efforts into just making everyone hate and fear this phenomenon that doesn't really exist. And paint this person up to be literally a Nazi, a fascist, the embodiment of the far right and the alt-right. And they did this for years and years and years. Aided and abetted by their useful idiot friends. Or you could say it's the other way around, that politicians are the useful idiots of the media. It's a complicated relationship. And just slander the guy for 4 straight years. Slander. Everything. Because that's all they have. Don't worry. We're going to save you from this threat. What threat? That one. We just made it up. Donald Trump, Bin Laden, Gaddafi, they're all the same. This is just a lighter version. But it's all the same. It's all the same. This is how it is. It's always been like this. Here's the threat. We're going to save you from it. Create the threat, and then you create a purpose. Then you can fill people's needs. You know, there's a void in their life that they never knew existed, and then you created it for them. And suddenly they need you to protect them from these big bad Nazis. Who are they? I don't know. QAnon? All right. It's a bizarre state of affairs when apparently one of the most terrifying hate groups we have is a bunch of mainly middle-aged people who've just got into conspiracy. They're sort of having a midlife crisis that involves conspiracy theories. You know, they're not buying sports cars and fucking waitresses and shit. They're, they're just spreading weird links around the internet about wardrobes being specially designed to traffic children to an underground lair to be devoured by satanic pedophiles. Okay, I mean, it's a bit wacky, but I don't think there's anything particularly dangerous about people that don't want children to be sex trafficked and have their blood sucked out of them and adrenochrome harvested by fucking mentalists. You know, I mean, if there's any sort of conspiracy you're going to believe and there's any sort of weird ideas you're going to believe, it's not too bad. I mean, there is at least some moral fibre to it. And unlike a lot of conspiracy theories, it's not even anti-Semitic, which is a bonus. But, these people are the evil ones. They're the ones you've got to be afraid of, because you're not afraid of Islam anymore, so you've got to be afraid of them. Because people's eyes have been very much open, but we forget that the majority of Joe and Jane average still believe that the mainstream and the establishment are, virtuous. They have a code. They have values, and they wouldn't deceive people in the way that they've been painted out to be. But they do, and this is all they've ever done. And they've gotten worse. This is the problem. Not only are they consistently bad, they've gotten worse. And this is what you have. And some people were believing, Donald Trump's going to win by a landslide. And yes, if COVID-19 didn't come along, it could have been very likely. But if you've got a media establishment, and you're talking about probably 95% of the media, plus all popular culture, that's from musicians to actors to artists to TV presenters to comedians, when you've got that much influence on culture, telling you every day that there's a Nazi in the White House, for him to still get 70 million votes or however many it is truly remarkable. That's quite an achievement when you think about it. And it sort of swings things the other way because people, I suppose, wanted to go back to normal. And what's really normal? Well, voting in a plastic politician that you know is going to lie to you, that you know has no fucking grain of value, has no grain of truth in their fucking body. They're not going to do anything because they never did anything before, but it will go back to that time when you were just completely ignorant and it felt so good. And that's what you got now. And like I said, the kids in cages will disappear. COVID-19 will probably disappear. Everything will just disappear and you'll just be all comfortable in ignorance again. Like, oh, this feels so nice. Like getting back with an ex-girlfriend who's been a few years and you've just forgotten about all the bullshit. And you go, do you remember that time when she pulled me off in the back of a car in a car park? Oh, that was good, wasn't it? Yeah, let's give that another try. And by all means, the first week I'm sure I'll be fine. But by the second week, you're bashing each other's heads against the wall and she sets your room on fire. Am I talking about experience? A little bit. Things are not going to go back to normal because there was never... Normal's an illusion. It's an illusion. Not these weird, wacky, conspiracy LARPing illusions that, regular folk like to believe, because people don't like to believe in complicated things. This is what governments, media establishments, and intellectual elitists understand. It's that average Joe and Jane average, a lot of you as well. The ins and outs of things are very complicated. You've got to research stuff. You've got to spend a lot of time looking at the finer details. There's correlations between things that happen that look so simple to you, but they're very complicated. And they know they can manipulate whatever statistics, they know they can manipulate whatever narrative they want, because you just haven't got the time. And you have too much trust in them as well. They're like you, they become your parents. You give everything to them, and you believe everything they say, because what else have you got? You ain't got many other choices but believe everything they fucking say. And they just keep manipulating you, and you just live in a world of blissful ignorance, where you know nothing's going to get better, but I suppose nothing's going to get worse. Well, I don't know. Have a look around you. Does things seem like they're getting worse? Yeah, they do. They pretty much seem like they're getting fucking terrible. But that's all they got. All they had was to paint the other guy as a monster. And then they could throw anything in front of you, and you'd vote it in. And the thing is, this does trickle down to the UK as well. Because unfortunately, culture influences politics, and it reflects the culture. And that has been pretty obvious, as you can see with Donald Trump. But unfortunately for the Western world, particularly the UK, we are downstream from that culture from America. And eventually what happens there engulfs us too. So whether you like it or not, and I really don't like it, you have to look at America and keep an eye out on what the fuck's going on. Because eventually it's going to come get you. Obviously there are some very significant differences between America and the UK. The Republican Party actually seem like conservatives, whereas our conservative government in the UK are sort of just wafy liberals, really. Wafy liberals that believe in, tax breaks. That's about it. I mean, they're not very, when it comes to conservatism, I don't quite see what the fuck it is. It's just a name. A bit like this new socialist movement that's going on. It's not socialism. I mean, God knows what it is, but I don't think they even understand socialism. People just like to label stuff, go, wow, they're socialists. Are they? Really? They're just loons, aren't they? Isn't everyone a loon? I'm no big fan of socialism. I've read the Communist Manifesto. It's a pamphlet. It's very light. It needs to be longer. But there you go. That's what happened to all of us. And what do they give you? What's been voted in? The man that put children in cages. The man that resided over a regime that deported more people than Donald Trump ever could imagine. That's right. Deportations went down since he became in power. I'm not saying this. I get these sources from left-wing people. Oh, and from official government statistics. That's right. So these people that did all these things, that made people's lives fucking shit, which made them think, fuck it, let's just vote for Donald Trump to see what happens. Well, they're back in power now and everything's restored to its former glory, isn't it? And you can just continue with ignorance. I mean, it's a sad day in hell. It is a very dark day in heaven, should I say, when you think it's a great thing that a man with Alzheimer's who is just a complete corporate whore that despises innovators, despises anyone that's got more money than him, because they shouldn't do, because they do stuff. You're not supposed to do stuff. You're supposed to just talk and talk and talk and talk. All politicians are the same. Politicians? That's a Palestinian politician. Politicians are the same. They just come off this conveyor belt. They are just plastic people, like plastic gangsters. They're not real gangsters. They're plastic gangsters. They bought a gun one day and went, I'm a gangster. They don't know how to shoot a gun. They don't even know how to extort money out of people. But they got a gun now. I'm a gangster, innit? These plastic politicians. There's a conveyor belt. They all come out. They're all the same. They all say exactly the same thing. And they all do exactly the same thing, which is doing nothing, but talking a hell of a lot. That's all they know how to do. And they will continue to do that. So it doesn't matter who you voted in. It's just the aesthetics of it. They're like, oh, he's an old white man. But look at this young, vibrant woman of mixed races. A person of colour. Which is a bizarre term, because I remember when, people were called coloured people. That's really don't call people coloured people. Call them people of colour. It's like changing Burger King to King Burger. It really, really does work. It's a great idea. Well done. Congratulations. Oh, here she is. And she's like, hey, I love, my favourite rapper was Tupac. Really, bitch? Do you know who Tupac's favourite politician would be? Well, it wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be many people. But you'd definitely be one of his most hated. Do you think Tupac would be a fan of fucking Kamala Harris with the amount of black people she's put in prison? In the fucking state where he spent the majority of his adult life? Tupac must be rolling in his fucking grave, if he's dead. Or he's in his secret bunker in Cuba with his auntie, throwing feces out the wall, screaming, going, what the fuck? Tupac's my favourite rapper. What is that? I mean, how crazy is that? Tupac, the man who went to prison on rape charges. And here's this woman. Oh, little girls can look up to me and aspire to be me. Look at me. Oh, how wonderful, isn't it? She's a woman. She's a bit black. This is fantastic. Oh, rejoice. Yeah, who's your favourite rapper? The guy who went to jail for rape. He's my favourite rapper. What? You see, that alone should be enough to go, oh yeah, this is a hell of a lot of bullshit. Complete bullshit. Maybe you should be spending a lot of time now just constantly tweeting at them. I mean, because that's what people do anyway. Or at least going around the White House and shouting at them saying, excuse me, what about the kids in cages and shit? And all the black people you threw in jail, motherfuckers. And they'll just like, yeah, I know. We just want all Americans to, they'll just spiel off some nonsense. And the people out there celebrating. People who used to think they were edgy, anti-establishment characters going, yeah, fuck the establishment, yeah, fuck all this shit, yeah, man, I ain't part of the mainstream, fuck all that bullshit, yeah. But Joe Biden, fucking fantastic. Do you know what I mean? These are the kind of people that applaud the CEO of, I don't know, think of a corporation that's terrible. I mean, I'll wait, there's quite a few of them. I guess these sort of people would applaud, the executive Gillette for getting his first blowjob in the back of his new Ferrari. They go, brilliant, great for the people. This is who they are. They love corporate whores. They love them. They're corporate whores too. Oh, thank you, corporation. Oh, that was so good of you to do what you did. Thank you, corporation. Brilliant. Thank you, corporation. Thank you. Thanks, corporate. Thank you, corporations. They're fucking fantastic. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you, corporations. They love corporate whores. They are corporate whores. I mean, this whole new rise of socialism is corporate whoring because it's corporations are going, we believe in all these things. Buy our products. Okay. Great idea. Because perhaps no one really believes it anyway. But rejoice. Rejoice. You are free to go back into your coma. That's fantastic. We underestimated it. We thought that all the Joe and Jane averages were going to, eventually see the truth. But as much as Joe and Jane average will whinge about CNN or Fox News or the BBC, oh, it's so biased, I won't pay my license fee again. Still, they're going to believe everything they say that they like. Do you know? It's when you like what people are saying, then you go, yeah, that must be true. And say, your dick is so big. Yeah, that is true. I don't know. Or someone goes, your balls are a bit veiny and disgusting. Get away from here with your conspiracy nonsense. Where did you read that? On the Facebook? No, but your penis is huge. Oh, yeah, but that is the truth. Usually CNN, the BBC are lying about stuff, I think, but when they said my penis was ridiculously monstrous, I just couldn't help but believe all the truth and facts they were spitting at me. You see, just tell them what they want to hear. Talk, 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 talk. What are you going to do? We're going to end poverty. Yeah. What are you going to do? We're going to end racism. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know. What do you want me to do? So, I don't know. I've always fancied having miniature elephants. I love them. I love elephants, but they're too big, too much to handle. They eat too much, take up too much space. Plus, they're a bit dangerous. We'll give you miniature elephants. Legally. Really? Yeah. Come on voting day. Tick the box next to my name. We'll give you some miniature elephants. You big dick bad boy. Thank you, sir. So there you go. The future isn't bright, but it is plastic. It's very plastic. So don't worry about it. You know, you can go back to the normality that you deeply crave. Before everyone got the sniffles and you had to be locked in your house and you didn't understand why. Now you're frustrated about it, but of course you didn't really do much about it when they told you to go inside, did you? You just sort of took their word for it and went, oh yeah, this must be bad. I mean, the government said it. Until the government says that you've got a very big vagina. And you're like, no, I don't. Fuck you, government. Government told you your pussy was so fucking slim and tender. A beautifully designed vagina. Something that should be hung in a gallery. You know. So school children could go on day trips. You know, you go on day trips to the gallery or the museum. Look at this vagina, isn't it? Marvellous. Yes. Is this a political statement? No. It's just a vagina. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the freedom of ignorance. It's beautiful. You know. You'll walk out the door and you'll know that everything's shit. You know, your money's not going to go very far. You're not going to be able to do much. The regular, you know, the reasons why you were broke and miserable are still going to be, you know, the same reasons. The saviour that came to rescue you from the clutches of fascist dictatorship have saved you from nothing. They've just relieved you of your own personal responsibility and your own capacity to think for yourself. Because at one point you were very close. You were so close to having a bit of critical thinking about you and going, do you know what, these statistics don't make fucking sense. I think there's more to it. Well, that's until the establishment that all works together through the media, through the security services. You know, the deep state. Do you remember when the deep state wasn't something that was a far-right conspiracy? The deep state was something that the left used to talk about. Journalists say the deep state has gone too far. Talk about the deep state. How wrong it was to do all the things that they do. Do you remember when they used to do that? Do you remember that? That was good, wasn't it? But anyway, when they told you you had a massive penis, suddenly you didn't mind the deep state too much. You know, these people could be your mortal enemies. Think about that girl who you despise. You know, you're just like, I fucking hate that bitch. Yeah, I bet you want to bang her though. No! Bang her face in with a shovel. You know. But then one day you noticed her batty and you're like, And she turned at you and she went, do you know what? I bet you've got a really smooth, nice penis. And then suddenly you didn't hate her so much. You're waking up after a sex dream covered in your own fucking shit. You know what I mean? Your business is all open. You're like, oh my God. I totally did a doggy in a car. That was the hottest dream I've ever had. I need to fuck my best enemy. Sorry, worst enemy. Well, best enemy, worst enemy. It's all the same shit, isn't it? We're in a fucking upside down, back to front world anyway. Who gives a fuck? That's it. But again, let's applaud. Kids in cages no longer exist, so therefore, you're redeemed of all, you're redeemed of all moral responsibility now. You can just carry on. You know, all the atrocities that were going on that you didn't give a fuck about until you were told you should give a fuck about them. They're all going to go away now because you're not supposed to give a fuck about them because the machine is back in place and the machine will continue to fucking screw everybody. But you won't know about it. You won't know they're doing it. I mean, you'll feel the effects of it, of course, but, you know, it just won't exist. It only exists if it's on the mainstream news and shit. It only exists if Joe and Jane Average who come round for dinner say it exists. You know? What, a war in Yemen? What are you talking about? Don't be stupid. Yemen? No, the kids in cages, they're all gone. And who knows? Who knows? In a couple of years time, it will not surprise me that under the Biden administration, when there are even more kids in fucking cages, regardless of what you think about the whole nuance, the nuances of why it gets done, they'll be talking about the kids in cages again. And yet that will probably be a conspiracy theory. That's right. Kids in cages. What? Have you been on the intellectual dark web reading conspiracy reports on InfoWars? Kids in cages. How ridiculous. Now go back to sleep, you big dick bastard.